Hey, Katrina here from Scrappy Horses. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So happy you are here. I am working on a calendar planner. Now you might be thinking, wait, you just did one on January 1st. And you're right, I did. However, this one is a little different. This one is an 8.5 by 11 planner journal. So there's a lot more room to write, and I think you'll see the differences here. My front and back cover are from Die Cuts with a View, and I believe it's called the Rustic stack. It's probably retired. It's been in my craft room for a while. Then I have printed out pages that I have designed myself based on some other journals that I've had in the past. But since I designed it myself, I could come in and I could put in just the things that I wanted for my journal. I also have some sticker sheets from Close to My Heart. Again, these are all retired. They've been in my stash for a long time, just waiting for a project like this. I also have some other pages. This is my front page of the journal. Then I've got some month pages, and on the back I have some places to write, and we'll go through all of that in detail at the end of the video when we do our walk through the entire planner. I have also used some papers and pieces from Close to My Heart Skylark. I've put the entire planner together using Zutter 1/2 inch antique brass binding wires, and I used my Cinch system to do this. So let's start decorating that front cover. I'm going to bring the sticker in, and it's just a nice long piece that I have here. And I'm going to use this as sort of the place where I'm going to bind my book. Again, from Close to My Heart. I'm using some double score tape, and I'm covering with Fabric-Tac. If you've not watched many of my videos, you might not know that I oftentimes use double score tape with the Fabric-Tac just to be sure that things stick, and it also gives me room to move things around a little bit. This is a stamp. I believe it's from Prima, and it's been in my stash for a while too. It's very small print, and I'm just using it over the sticker from Close to My Heart just to give it a little more going on the sticker. It looked just a little too clean for me, so I'm using some Barn Red ink and just adding a little something there in that background area. Now I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to the book in the same way using double score tape with Fabric-Tac. And so here we go with the double score and then the Fabric-Tac. When I do front covers of books and journals, I use a lot of tape, and I use a lot of Fabric-Tac on that. The reason I'm using Fabric-Tac on this particular piece is because I'm going over that textured part. So that's another reason I would want to go with Fabric-Tac over the sticky tape. Also, again, it gives me room to slide around a little bit. And if I don't like exactly where it's sitting, I can just smoosh it over a little bit and move it. And so that's kind of nice to be able to do that. Once I have this in place where I like it, I'm going to cover it with a black and set it aside and let that sit and firm up a little bit. You can see I've added the sticker happened, and then I had this paper stuck in a drawer. I never throw anything away, which was perfect to make a title. Now here's a hint for you. If you get something laid out and you think, I'm going to forget how I did this, if you just snap a quick photo with your phone, and then you can just lay your phone to the side of your crafting table, and it's there for you. I do this quite a bit when I do scrapbook layouts or book layouts. It just makes it easier to remember where everything goes. So you can see I'm starting to refer to that now to see how I had everything. Coming in with my Barely Arts glue, and I'm going to go over this little banner. Now, these were stickers, but remember, they've been in my stash for a long, long time. So some of them have lost just a little bit of their stick. And I also, again, because it's the cover of the book, I want to make sure I get everything in there so that it stays permanently. I'm going to start putting on my letters now, and a couple of hints for putting letters in. I like to use tweezers, and then I use my Barely Arts glue. I always lay a piece of scrap paper over my projects because I'm notorious for dropping things. So if I'm going to drop something that has glue on it, I'd rather drop it on scrap paper than on my project. So I lay it down at the bottom first and then just sort of coax it towards the top of the letter and go that direction. And I usually get it kind of straight, not always, but kind of. If I had printed this page, I would have gone ahead and just printed this on, and then I would glue right over the print. That's my go-to for when I print, but this didn't have any printing, so I had to go this direction. All right, I'm going to start punching the holes. I set up the machine exactly where it goes, and I go ahead and punch. Then I slide the slide part out the entire way, pull knob 10 or stop 10, and then punch the rest. And that works out really well. Now, I never trust it, so I always have to lay my wire out and just double check. So you'll see me do that here. I'm going to lay that wire there in the side of the cinch machine. Then I'll just lay my paper in just to be sure that it actually did work. And spoiler alert, it did work. It was fine. I don't know why I don't trust, but I just sometimes have to see it for myself. So now it's time to come in and punch the rest of the pages and my title page, and of course the covers front and back. When I punch my front and back, I put them wrong sides together and punch them together. That way I know that the front and back are going to be exactly alike. Again, all knobs are pushed in, everything's pushed in. I go ahead and punch, pull the tray out all the way, slide it in to snugly fit against the back of the machine, pull, stop 10, and again, punch. You don't have to punch it hard, but do be firm about it, especially if you're punching through lots of cardstock. So I'm not going to have you sit through every single sheet of this paper that I punched, but you can stack maybe 6 or 7 of them together and just follow the same routine. I made my cover exactly the same size as the pages on this particular planner, so I didn't have to figure out any different math here for punching the holes. It's all exactly the same. Just remember the second time to pull your stop 10, and it works out just fine. Once you've done all of that, then you can start laying out your pages. You're going to lay out your last page, which I chose to just go with a piece of designer paper, and then work your way up from the back of the book. For me, that was a notes page, and then I have a divider page. I actually had this cut for my other book and then didn't use it, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to just stick it in here and use it as a piece that I can decorate and play with in my desk planner. I have some monthly pages here, and again, we'll talk about those at the end of the video, but those will come in as my next section, and I just carefully place those over all the wires. Again, another divider, just for fun. And now I'm going to come in with the actual days, which are kind of my worksheets for the weeks. And on top of that, then I will have my title page. And then I decided along the way here that I wanted more in my book. But first, let's talk about this title page. This, if you've never used word art, it's a lot of fun. I have a video. It's right above there. You can tap it and go see it and try it out for yourself. It really is a great way to personalize any project. So I encourage you to check out that video and try it for yourself. All right, moving on. I came to the page that I was going to put in then right before my front cover and I decided I want a pocket on that. So I went over to my Cricut machine really quickly, pulled up a pocket that I had designed for another book and just made it a little larger, cut it, and again with some double score tape there, along with my Fabric-Tac, I'm going to glue that into place on this page. And then on the back, I put just a really simple vertical pocket. Then I decided, wait, I think I better have year at a glance here for 26 and 27. So I put that page in also. And then added my front page and then my pocket pages. All right, now here's the part that's always sort of confusing to me. You're going to lay your front cover in front side up, just the way you would think you would do it. But then you're going to take your back page, you're going to lay it upside down, all right? So you have right sides together, and then that's how it's going to fit together. So you're going to be able to see the inside. I'm going to cut off my remaining wire. So I just use the little cutter thing there. I forget what that's called. And cut that off. I'm going to save that because this is for Path of Positivity and we're making two projects that go together. Saving that little bit for a little notebook that we're going to make here in just a minute. I'm going to set my machine at 1/2 inch. And I'm going to bring this in, lay it in so it kind of forms, the wire kind of forms a C and it butts up against the machine. And then you just firmly pull down or push down. Now, here comes that little notebook I told you about. You know, I had some leftover paper from the front cover. And then everybody's got a lot of white, right? So I just cut a whole bunch of pieces of paper that were 3.5 by 2 inches. And I cut the cover the same way. I'm pulling stop 4, pull it out, and I'm going to stick those in about 3 or 4 at a time, 5 at a time, and just punch the 3 holes. All right, I'm going to continue to do that until I get through the entire stack of white paper, and then I'll do my covers, right? And then we'll put them all together the same way that we did the planner. So we put in all of those blank white pages, and I'll admit some of them have some things on the back because it's just scrap, and that's okay for me for my notebook. Then I'm going to lay my front cover right side up, back cover the wrong side up. Now I'm going to place this in my machine, and it's a little one, so it's not going to take much here. I'm just going to stick that in and just push down firmly. And now, there we go. We have a matching notebook, just that easy. But it was kind of plain, so I thought, you know what? We need to decorate this. So I pulled a stamp from Close to My Heart that matches. It's from the Yeehaw stamp set. It's really, really old. I pulled in some inks and went around and just sort of changed the color, the background color from white to more of an off-white. And then I trimmed it and then went around with a little darker cashmere brown. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it on the front cover of the notebook along with a little sticker and another sticker then that I'm going to use as a border along the top. This was sort of an afterthought. The challenge over at Path of Positivity is called Dynamic Duo. And so you're making two projects that sort of go together. Like, for example, you might make a matching card and envelope or a matching bag and tag. I've chosen to go with my planner and matching notebook for my first project of the month. So here I am. I'm going to go ahead and put that sticker on there. There we go. And trim that. Again, I'm not being too fussy about this. Just going to trim it with my scissors. And we'll go ahead and stick that on. Now back to the Path of Positivity challenge. If you'd like to play along, our themes are always optional. So down below, in the box below, I will give you the address for Path of Positivity, and I invite you to come over and join us in that challenge. All right, so here we go. We're finishing up this little notebook. Just that easy. And we got to use a lot of scraps in the meantime there. All right, let's walk through this together and I'll show you some of the advantages to making your own planner. All right. So number one, it's a lot less expensive, obviously, than buying them. Some of those planners can get really pricey. So I have my first page here, and I have a nice pocket in here. I can put receipts in there or just papers that I want to keep for any reason. This one was a really simple pocket. You just slide in from the side. There's my word art again, and you can see it a little better here. Again, you can check out that video that I listed. I'll also have that below, and you can check that out. These calendars are from SaturdayGift.com. Again, I'll link that below. Now, here are the pages, and this is why I really like designing my own planner. In other planners, there's just so much wasted space, and here I could actually put in the things I like to keep track of. This is my to-do list for the day. Here's my actual time for the day that I need to do things. Most of my day is spent at school, so I don't need a lot of room to write there, so that's not a big deal. In the second section, I have this part that I can decorate and play with. Now here is some place for me to write down some January ideas. I left blank spots. I can tape things in there. I can draw. I can do whatever I want to do. I can cover my blogs, what I need to do for school, what I like to do for others, and what the horses need that particular month. So I can sketch out my ideas back here and keep track of things that way. In my last section, I have my notes and I have my contacts there. Now, this little clip is just a button that is glued onto a paper clip with E6000. Then I've got this piece in the back. It's grid paper. Again, I like that just for sketching and that kind of thing if I want to sketch something out. All right, I am so happy you joined me today. Come on over to Path of Positivity. If you don't want to play along with the challenge theme, that's great. We'd still love to have you come and play. Any comments or questions about this project, please leave them below. I'd love to know what you think of it. All right, have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will catch up with you in the next video. Bye.